ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Carving It Up Live right here on YouTube, as well as on Facebook, on Twitch, on X, and on Instagram. I am Bryson Carver. It is fantastic to be with you guys on this Monday night. And listen, a lot's happened in the last, what's it been, about a month, almost to the day, I guess, since we've last done a show. That was when LeBron decided to go to Philadelphia. And since then, NFL preseason started. We'll get to the Cowboys, not necessarily their preseason game so much as what Dak Prescott is calling the offense. GOTI, greatest offense there is. The Steelers, is it on the board? I'm just suggesting this, that the Pittsburgh Steelers might well have their quarterback in the waiting. That we don't need to wait for a Baker Mayfield down the road in 2027 to be a free agent, that we don't have to draft somebody. Maybe we've already drafted him. Get to that a little bit later. Also talk about the whole situation regarding Russell Westbrook retiring from the NBA. What is his legacy? It's been one of the more mixed conversations that we've seen in the NBA over the course of the last week since Russ announced his retirement. I'll get to why Russ he really represents the best and the worst of what we want our athletes to be. Get to that later in the show. Tons to get into on today's episode of Carving Up Live. Jackson Dart just keeps putting himself in brutal positions. It's awful to watch. Get to him later on. See my man Patrick Brown's in the comments. What's up, Patrick? He says, welcome back. Thank you, Patrick. Let's run up the comments, like, shares, and subscribes. Completely back you on that one, Patrick. Appreciate you tuning in. Anyone who wants to chime in the comment section, feel free to do so. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on what I've got to say. But first, man, I didn't think after taking a month off that I would be starting the show talking about the Washington Commanders quarterback, Jayden Daniels. But here we are. So for those of you that have not been following the news, I'll fill you in. So on August 5th, and this came out last week, but on August 5th, Jayden Daniels filed a cease and desist, sent a cease and desist letter to LSU, basically saying, this is according to ESPN, he's informed LSU that it can no longer use his name, image, and likeness, according to an August 5th letter to the Tigers athletic director, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN. At the center of the dispute, according to a statement by Daniels' spokesperson to ESPN, is that the Tigers are allowing sophomore cornerback DJ Pickett to wear the number 5 jersey that Daniels wore when he became LSU's third Heisman Trophy winner in 2023. And since then, if you've been in the vicinity of social media right now, everybody's trolling him. Everybody is trolling Jayden Daniels for this, saying, let's say a baseball team won 4-1. We would have scored 5, but in respect to Jayden Daniels, we stayed at 4. Or we went to 6. We had to score 1 more because we didn't want to get sued. All of the above. So here's the thing. And I've thought about this over the last few days. I feel bad for Jayden Daniels. I do. I don't think in his wildest dreams that he would think, first of all, that this would necessarily get out to ESPN when it did in the middle of Commanders training camp, in a training camp, which, by the way, Washington made an NFC Championship game 2 years ago. Last year, Jayden was hurt. Defense was bad. Defense was bad the year prior. But regardless, Washington needs a little bounce back, or some heads might roll in that franchise. Like, they need a bounce back. And so this is the last thing you could possibly want as a distraction. Here's why I feel bad for Jayden Daniels. Is that he has, I think, become the poster child or the face of a very dangerous trend that we've seen in professional sports that let's put it this way. I'll put it like this. Who you have as your PR team is as critical as it gets as a public figure, particularly as an athlete. Particularly as an NFL player, and especially as a quarterback of a premier franchise. Let's not forget, this Washington franchise has won 3 Super Bowls. There was a time between like the late 70s to the early to mid 90s. This was one of the elite franchises in the league, up there with the Steelers and the Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. Like it was 49ers, Giants. It was in that stratosphere. Last 30 years, you had the Dan Snyder years, bad stadium, name change. Like, it's been kind of chaotic. This has been a great franchise, and there's always going to be eyeballs on Washington. Jayden Daniels is going to have to make a very difficult decision. Because, and I'm not trying to absolve the athlete of blame here. He had to go along with this. Jayden Daniels has to cut his mother out of his decision-making business from a professional standpoint. For those who don't know, Jayden Daniels' mother is his manager. that should not be a thing. It should not. I don't care who that offends. That should not be a thing. If you are, I'm not a parent, but if you are someone's parent, there is obviously, you'd imagine, you'd hope, unconditional love, wanting the best for your child, all of it. That cannot also go along with, hey, let's make the best business decisions that we can make as a team, as a business team, manager, agent, all those things. Like, you see what LeBron has done with his guys, Rich Paul, Maverick Carter. Like, that's his crew. He trusts those guys implicitly. They're going to make the decisions in the best interest of LeBron James without the sort of, paternalistic wanting to protect your child that inevitably is in any half-decent parent. Is that the first red flag I kind of saw in all of this is Jayden Daniels, I think this was a year ago, was sitting courtside at a basketball game. And a seat next to him was Juju Watkins, who plays for USC. Excellent player. He's going to be a superstar in the WNBA someday. Juju's phenomenal. And then I think it was after halftime, they come back. Jayden Daniels' mother is sitting between them. It's like, these are two, it sounds weird to say consenting adults. It looks like it was just a friendly thing, right? Like, Jayden Daniels is friends with Juju Watkins, all of it. Places herself in between the two. It's like, that's not your decision to make. Yes, you're his mother. He's a grown man. Juju Watkins, they can sit together. It's not a problem. And then I saw this. It came out, in a recent interview. Regina Jackson is his mother's name. This was her exact quote discussing Jayden Daniels' marital status. Quote, "I find it difficult to navigate this NFL lifestyle as a young athlete mom because of how many people are just looking for a payout. I didn't grow up seeing my family get taken advantage of. My biggest fear in life is letting the wrong people into my son's inner circle and losing everything I've worked for. I genuinely wish more athletes had someone in their corner keeping it 100% with them. It would help so many young guys protect their future from the women of nowadays. Protecting my son from women trying to target his fortune and take his millions is a top priority for me. Seeing your child get taken advantage of should be every parent's biggest fear. I'm a mom that protects his son. For now, I'm his wife." It's like, okay, do I think she's well-intentioned? I have no reason to believe that she's not. She's his mom. She loves him, all of it. That's also not your call to make. If Jayden Daniels is 16, 17, okay. You're under 18, living under my roof, my rules, the whole bit. He's a grown man, making his own decisions. He's a professional quarterback in the National Football League. Those calls are his to make. And I have a hard time seeing this entire cease and desist letter sent to LSU as her not having something to do with it. Now, by the way, I'm still not completely certain that I think that it's a bad legal move by Jayden Daniels. I mean, people are kind of climbing like, oh, yeah, Jayden Daniels won a Heisman Trophy, but it's like, was he really that good at LSU? Yeah, he was really that good. Let's show you what Jayden Daniels did. If we have that graphic with the LSU Tigers. Unbelievable. His last season, his Heisman season at LSU, 50 total touchdowns. 50 total touchdowns to 4 picks. 4,900 total yards, 72% completion, percentage, 412 total yards per game, 9-3 record. Pretty good. Matter of fact, it's so good, we like to play a game. We like to play a game sometimes of a show. That looks awfully similar. Let's show that. Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow through 12 games, first 12 games of his iconic Heisman Trophy season. Burrow's got a beaten completion percentage and record. Listen, that LSU team 2019 is, on the short list of some of the greatest in college football history. No question about it. But through 12 games, the last 2 Heisman Trophy winners at LSU, Jayden Daniels had Joe Burrow beat in touchdowns, total touchdowns, fewer picks. He has 300 more yards and average almost 30 more yards per game. Like, that's That you can't just ignore that. Like the guy was this again, that goes to show you how devastating a bad PR move can be for you. Look at somebody like Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was caught, what, a year and a half ago? 2 years ago, gambling. It's like, whoa, that is a huge story. Shohei Ohtani cut the guy out of his life, has a good PR team. It's very few people talk about that. And by the way, I'm one of the few that's like, hey, I think Shohei is not implicated in any of this. But he had a good PR team to snuff it out. Let's kill any disastrous, potential business dealings that this could hurt Shohei in the future for. Let's get rid of that. Jayden Daniels has to have similar people in his life. His mom is not an objective agent of any of this. She can love him. She's his mom. Moms should love their kids unconditionally. That does not mean you need to make business decisions for your son. And I think that's going to be a very hard conversation, should it take place. But if this continues to go south, if his off-field dealings, which again, he seemed like a good kid. He's not getting in trouble. Like that's, that's not a problem. The problem is it's like, oh, okay, who's really calling the shots here? Is it Jayden Daniels, his mom? It was the same question. By the way, was it not the exact same questions we had about the Ball brothers, the Ball sons, Lonzo, LaMelo? It's like, okay, is this them or is it LeVar? More often than not, LeVar would just come out and tell us, listen, I love LeVar, charismatic as it gets, can at times be controversial, can put his foot in his mouth, but by and large, I think he loves his sons. I think he was doing what's in the best interest of his sons in his mind. But what was the best in his own mind, creating his own shoe brand, big baller brand, basically destroyed Lonzo's career because he had ankle problems. Never the same guy after, it was never really lived up to his potential as a second overall pick in the 2017 NBA draft. Got another number 2 pick, Jayden Daniels. I'm concerned that a similar fate might befall him for different reasons. So it's, again, it's a tough conversation that'll need to be had, but it needs to be had, and that's where I'm at. So I apologize for coming out. A lot of times what ends up happening is I'll take a long break from the show and my voice, here's the thing. I don't usually talk in this big, loud, voice in my day-to-day life. A, that would be really annoying. B, it takes too much energy. I'm not doing that. And so when I take a month off from doing that, my voice is like gone in the first 2 to 3 minutes. Meanwhile, I can go to, if I've got that repetition and I'm going and I'm not straining my voice because it's what my voice is used to doing. Then I go to, like a Tennessee football game and I'm screaming my head off, come back on Monday, fine. No problems. So again, bear with me for the rest of the show. I promise by Wednesday it won't be a problem. By the way, speaking of future episodes of Carving Up Live, got a program announcement we'll have today on today's show and then Wednesday's show, so stay tuned for that. I do want to transition, though, staying in the NFC East. Let's transition. We talk about them all the time. Why stop now? Let's talk about America's team.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
So this has been, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I'm a former Cowboys fan, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, this has been basically the perfect offseason. Like, short of what the Rams did, get Trent McDuffie, Myles Garrett, have a good draft. Outside of that, this has been the perfect offseason. All your good players are coming back. No drama with George Pickens when it looks like there could be, and I give Pickens a lot of credit on that. All of it. Jerry Jones has been, by Jerry Jones, not by owner standards, but by Jerry Jones standards, been pretty quiet. Like, we haven't seen what Jerry say now? Is there a quarterback controversy? Is Joe Milton going to take Dak's job? None of that. And now, ironically, the guy who is just as good of a face of a franchise as you have in the NFL, Dak Prescott. Dak is the guy who's saying, hey, guys, this squad's different. We got a chance to do something special, so much so, I'm creating a nickname for it. GOTI. Greatest offense there is. Here's Dak's explanation the other day at training camp.
Why can't we be, and just, let's be the greatest offense there is. You've heard the greatest show on turf and all the other different nicknames.
I mean, okay. Like, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're like, all right, let's think about this. So and Dak kind of explained it earlier in his answer when he was asked about that, is that just from a raw talent perspective, okay, Dak Prescott's an indisputable top 10 quarterback in the league. Like, that's not even a question. You've got not one, but two excellent receivers, ridiculously talented. I think Pickens is actually more talented than CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is the more reliable receiver. You've got a 1-2 punch, maybe the best receiving duo in football. It's either you or Cincinnati or the Rams. Then you got an excellent running back in Javonte Williams. Great offensive line. Dallas, to their credit, going back, 15 years? Going back to the Tyron Smith draft in 2011, they've always drafted O-line well. I mean, Zach Martin, who's retired now, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Tyron Smith's gonna be a Hall of Famer. You've got the two Tyler Smiths up front, or you got Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker. Great offensive line in Dallas. Good tight end, Ferguson, and an offensive coach, a pretty smart offensive coach would appear in Brian Schottenheimer. And even in terms of the raw numbers, we can show you, I believe you have the stat of what the Cowboys offense did last season. It was awesome. 7th in points per game, 2nd in total yards per game, 4th, in yards per play, 1st in pass yards per game. That's a Dak stat more than anything. And then 9th in rush yards per game. It's like, okay. This is a squad that at their best can be the best offense in football. I said this last season when Dak was having a great year, Pickens was breaking out, CD and Javonte Williams and all the. I said this a year ago. If Dallas had not a good defense, a competent defense. Look, if they had the 14th best defense in the NFL, they could go to the Super Bowl. I said that last year. And the reason I said that is, I believe you have the numbers here. Dallas's defense a year ago was as bad as you could possibly imagine. A year ago, the Dallas Cowboys, last in points allowed, 3rd to last in total yards per game allowed, 2nd to last in yards per play allowed, last in pass yards a game allowed, 2nd to last in pass touchdowns allowed, last in 3rd down percentage, 2nd to last in passer rating allowed. They were bad across the board. They didn't have a pass rush. Secondary was terrible. So now, saw yesterday, I don't think this is a huge move, but they went and got Von Miller. And they traded for Rashawn Gary. And they've extended, Quinnen Williams, who was there for the last half of last season. And you drafted Caleb Downs. And you've got a Christian Parker getting his first opportunity as a defensive coordinator. Surely to goodness, he can't be as bad as Matt Eberflus, right? This Dallas defense does not have to be elite. It doesn't have to be the Texans or something, or the Broncos or the Seahawks. If they can be, if by season's end, if I went into a time machine and went in the future, went to January 10th or whatever, whenever the playoffs start next year, and I asked a random NFL fan, hey, where do the Cowboys rank on defense this year? They said, yeah, they're about the 17th best defense in football. Like, not even above average. 17th best defense. Yeah, they forced some takeaways, good situationally, got to the quarter. Oh, then they're in the playoffs. They've won the division. They can possibly win the Super Bowl. Like that. That is where I view it. So can the Cowboys be the best offensive league this year? Of course they can be that. But greater than that, what they should, view as the greater opportunity. We talk about the Cowboys championship drought, and it's been a punchline and a laughing point for a long time. I don't know where the flaw is. Up front, they're excellent, particularly in run blocking. Javonte Williams is excellent. You've got 2 elite wide receivers. By the way, I thought at points last year, I remember watching, I'm like, oh, maybe Dak. We know about CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. Maybe Dak has a number 3 receiver in Ryan Flournoy. And Jake Ferguson is a good, reliable tight end. If you're putting up numbers, if you're putting up 27 points a game, you should have 12, 13 wins. But the Cowboys defense was god awful. They won 7 games. And so, again, and people are talking about Caleb Downs like he's the second coming of Ed Reed. I mean, like, they are blunt. And I loved him out of Ohio State. Love this kid. if they are fine, if they are the 15th ranked defense in the NFL, they can win the Super Bowl. It's that simple. And I think even Dak, like last year, we can show you his numbers, was sensational. He's top 10 in almost everything. 4th in touchdowns, 11th in completion percentage, 3rd in pass yards per game, 8th in passer rating, 4th in QBR, 7th in team points per game. He was great. And so if you're a Cowboys fan, it's not only been the ideal offseason in the sense that, hey, I'm in any drama. Hey, everything's going great. Franchise is feeling good about itself. We're doing well. It's not just that. It's also the element of, holy crap, we can really win the Super Bowl if our defense is okay. Much less excellent. I don't know if I'm willing to say, oh, Christian Parker is going to be, for the Cowboys, what like D'Amico Ryans was to the 49ers before he took the Texans job, or what Mike McDonald was to the Ravens before he took the Seahawks job. I'm not going to say that yet. You got to see how it plays out, obviously. Cowboys fans should be pretty optimistic, and that's a far cry from where we thought they would be a year ago at this time, when there was the Micah Parsons drama. Is Brian Schottenheimer a good coach? And Dak was coming off an injury, and what's Pickens' temperament going to be? Like, and by the way, Dallas even has arguably the best kicker in football. Like, you're in pretty good shape if you're a Cowboys fan. Got a Cowboys fan in the comments here, Patrick. The vibes are different in Dallas. Jerry not talking and taking a back seat, letting Shotty and CP, Brian Schottenheimer, Christian Parker, run the show. No egos, distractions, and contracts. Football-centric culture, and the buy-in is authentic. It is. I mean, like, the fact that Dak, who again is the ultimate, like, we talk about his leadership qualities, and I remember Dan Quinn, I remember this quote stuck out to me, and I may reference it in the future because I loved it. Dan Quinn, now the head coach of the Commanders, was the defensive coordinator in Dallas. And I remember watching a game, the Cowboys were playing the Commanders a year ago. And Burkhardt and Brady were on the call. And I forget if it was Burkhardt or if it was Tom that mentioned, in their production meeting with Dan Quinn, he said something along the lines of, I wanted to win a Super Bowl in Dallas. Obviously, selfishly, of course, winning the Super Bowl. We as an organization just wanted to do it for Dak. It's like, golly, that's about as highly as you can speak about it. We wanted to win a championship for that guy, for one guy. That says a lot about a guy's leadership, and the fact that it's that guy who's wearing the Super Bowl 30 championship t-shirt. Last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. The fact that you saw about GOTI, he's already got a nickname for the offense. That's different than what Cowboys fans are used to. So they should be optimistic. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, speaking of quarterbacks, maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself. Did the Steelers have theirs? Like, is it on the board that the Steelers got theirs? Touch on that in just 1 minute on Carving Up Live. Stay tuned. And as I made that announcement, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Patrick Brown. You are the MVP, sir. My mic was muted. That shows. So again, we're rusty. We're back. It's fine. Thank you so much, Patrick. You're the MVP of today's show. Otherwise, I would have done the rest of the show muted and no one would have heard what I had to say. So let me say that again because it's a major announcement before we get to the Steelers stuff. So I've been doing Carving It Up live. The podcast has been going on since October of 2019. I've been doing the show live for the last 5.5 years. Going back to, I think it was January 2021. It was actually the day after Tom Brady led the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl. We've been doing the show live that long. And it's always gone live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Well, personally, in the last, I guess I've known this for months now, but I'm going to my final semester of college. We'll be graduating this December. And the thing is, scheduling-wise, with the exception of one, all of my classes are at night. Every single one with the exception of one. It's like, okay, well, I can't do Carving It Up live in the evening. Like that's just not an option this year. I don't really want to I've done that in the past, pre-recording a show. It doesn't feel as personal. I like to interact with people in the chat, in the audience, all of that, live as it happens. So I'm like, okay, let's shake the snow globe a little. Let's do a little change of pace. Starting next Monday. So next Monday, a week from today, that's August the 24th. Starting next Monday and going for the entirety of the football season. Carving It Up will be live in the mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time, right here, everywhere you watch the show. The destinations are going to change one iota. YouTube, X, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you watch the show, you can check us out. Wake up with Carving Up Live in the mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Get you a cup of coffee, eat you some breakfast, wherever you are in this country, or maybe even outside of the country. It won't be the morning, I guess. But check out Carving Up Live. We'll be on in the mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Monday and Friday are locked. We're doing shows Monday, Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, it really just depends on what the big night is in sports the night prior. Like, we will mostly be doing the show Monday, Tuesday, Friday, because Tuesday will be following Monday Night Football. But in the case of, for example, like the NBA season starts on a Tuesday. The schedule came out last week. Season starts on a Tuesday. Well, then we'll just do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. React to the NBA, the Monday Night Football game. The schedule will vary. The middle show will vary from Tuesday and Wednesday. Monday, Friday, bookend, that's not going to change. So Monday, we'll react to the weekend's events in sports, particularly in football. Friday, a lot of predictions, the whole bit, reacting to Thursday Night Football. So it's definitely some big changes coming to Carving Up Live in the sense of when the show's going to air. But listen, we got plenty of content coming your way in the future months. I'm super, super, super excited for football season. I'm super excited to have the show on the mornings. So again, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Definitely check the show out. Yeah, see, Patrick, this is why Patrick's awesome. He's already got the nickname for it. Carving It Up Sunrise Edition. We've had the Night Edition. And there have been like probably 3 or 4 times, if that we've gone live at like 10 p.m. Eastern as opposed to 10 a.m. Eastern. And Patrick, knowing that I'm the biggest Steph Curry fan on planet Earth, said, hey, why don't you just call it the Night Edition? It's like, that's pretty good. Maybe we'll do a Night Edition at some point, this season, depending on what happens. But yes, in the morning, Sunrise Edition, whatever you want to call it, Breakfast Edition, no matter how you slice it, we'll be on the mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. I'm super, super excited for everybody to tune in and check it out. And that's going to start next Monday. So Wednesday, it'll be at 6. And that'll be, because we're not doing a show Friday, that will be the last 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific show for a while, like at bare minimum for the duration of the football season. So very excited. Looking forward to everybody tuning in. All right, back to business, back to the NFL. Let me take a drink of water. So I got to say something. Some might perceive me as a pessimistic Steeler fan. And I wouldn't necessarily push back on that claim. I have been, as a guy who obviously wants to see my team win, have always had in the back of my head, but more often than not in the front of my head, trying to be as objective as I can as a fan. It's like, yeah, this team has like a first-round ceiling, at best, second-round ceiling. And it ain't because of the roster. is because the Steelers have had major deficiencies at two of the three most important, positions in football. There's GM. I think Omar Khan's a decent GM. And then at coach and at quarterback, they've had a deficiency for basically a decade. Like since the end of Big Ben's prime on, I have been one of the few that has had the, courage or whatever you want to call it to say, like, hey guys, Tomlin's fine. He's not the, Bill Belichick Jr. Right? I mean, I'm not sure how great Belichick is now when you look back at his resume. Like, Tomlin is not this brilliant coach. He's not. And so when the Steelers hire Mike McCarthy, it's on social media. You can check it out for yourself. My first reaction is like, gosh darn it, man. We just hired this guy because he has a cool Pittsburgh accent. He's from Pittsburgh, and, it's home, and it's, what you're going to get from McCarthy. You're not taking a big swing. He's going to be fine and not much better than that. And the play calling is going to be suspect, and game management, clock management, situational football, penalties. Yeah, kind of just holding your breath on all of those things. But then I sat back and thought about it. I'm like, okay, wait a second. Maybe there's a method to this madness. I'm sure nostalgia and, hey, let's bring the Pittsburgh kid home. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. Mike McCarthy, contrary to popular beliefs, no dummy. I mean, Mike McCarthy's hung around the NFL for 20 years. It's not for no reason. I mean, we've shown this graphic before, and then we'll move on to what, the crux of my argument is. Mike McCarthy, Mike Tomlin, check the resumes. It identical. Tomlin's coached one more season than McCarthy, one more playoff appearance than McCarthy, same number of division titles. Tomlin has slightly better winning percentage. McCarthy, way better playoff record. Like, they're the same guy. Like, so for those who think Mike Tomlin, oh my gosh, Hall of Famer. Mike McCarthy, is he really that good? They're the same guy. So you're like, then why do you want Mike McCarthy here? Because what have been the two areas of Pittsburgh's roster that have, if in all honesty, been the weakness of the team for a decade plus? And I mean, not a decade plus for one of them because Big Ben was there. A little less than a decade. Quarterback, offensive line. Say what you want about Mike McCarthy. Go back to his time in Green Bay. Go back to his time in Dallas. O-lines were always great. Quarterback's always great. Rob Bryson, Dak's excellent, and Aaron Rodgers is one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks ever. Who do you think helped develop them? Aaron Rodgers, with the exception of his rookie year, I believe, Mike McCarthy was there for the first 13 years of Aaron Rodgers' career, two of which when he was sitting behind Brett Favre. Who do you think helped develop Aaron Rodgers other than Mike McCarthy? Why do you think Dak has taken the huge step, the huge leap? He was a really good quarterback. His first 4 years in the league with Jason Garrett. Took a new step, was an MVP candidate with Mike McCarthy coaching him. I say all of that to say this. I want to preface all of that before I get to my point. The Steelers play a preseason game. And listen, never in the history of the NFL has the preseason mattered less than it does now. Starters don't play as much. I mean, teams have always had, coaching staffs have always had just vanilla game plans, nothing exotic, nothing crazy, just kind of baseline. They don't want to show anything off in the preseason games that don't even matter. But the Steelers played the Packers on this past Thursday. And Mason Rudolph started the game. Okay, whatever. We know what Mason Rudolph is. What Steelers fans like myself want to see is, okay, what does Will Howard look like, who they drafted in the 6th round a year ago out of Ohio State? And what does Drew Aller look like, who they drafted in the 3rd round out of Penn State this year? And Will Howard was good. Led a scoring drive at the end of half. Looked pretty good, accurate, moved well. And then, and you could say it's against backups, he's still a 3rd round rookie. It's not nothing. Then Drew Aller came in. It's like, whoa, okay. It is preseason. You don't want to overreact, but what he did wasn't insignificant. Well, we've seen rookie quarterbacks. Heck, we've seen second-year quarterbacks. Look at Cam Ward in Tennessee. God bless him. Playing the 49ers backups. Didn't look so good. Drew Aller, rookie 3rd round out of Penn State. Show the numbers. He played 3 drives. 3 touchdowns. Completed 76% of his throws, 153 passing yards. Had a better passer rating, higher passer rating than he did passing yards. Drew Aller. So, not bad. You're like, again, Bryson, preseason game, 100%. Why did I bring up McCarthy at the beginning? Developing quarterbacks. Anyone, Steelers fans certainly, but that has paid any attention at all to Steelers OTAs, minicamp, now training camp. We know, unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the starter this season. But the question is, beyond Aaron, who's the Steeler quarterback? Shout out to my friend Sophia, who's a big Steeler fan. She mentioned to me a couple weeks ago, like, hey, Baker Mayfield's going to be a free agent. It's like, okay, I'm open to that. I like Baker. Maybe draft somebody in the future. That's what I've always suggested. What if you got him in the building? The good thing about having Mike McCarthy, you'll know if you got the guy or not because you got one of the best quarterback developers in the business. When Drew Aller came out of Penn State, I got to be honest, I wasn't that high on the kid. I really wasn't. Thought his tangibles were good. Big arm, moved fine, but didn't blow me away with, okay, turnovers, kind of struggle with that in college. Bad decision-making late in games, the playoff game against Notre Dame, the game last year against Oregon. It's like, I don't see those, intangible qualities. And when he got drafted by Pittsburgh, and draft evaluators before he was even drafted at all talked about, he's talented, kid's talented, big arm. Man, his mechanics suck. They are bad. Like Penn State did not help him whatsoever in that regard. Mike McCarthy had a quote, I forget if it was OTA's rookie minicamp, basically saying, we're basically just going to completely break down everything he's learned and build him back up. So it's like learning how to walk again. Like that's what we're going to do with Drew Aller. And draft scouts who watched him in college at Penn State and then watched his first preseason game are all in unison. Forget the stats. Forget the fact that he led 3 scoring drives in the 3 drives he played. Forget all that. In terms of his mechanics, in terms of his footwork, didn't even look like the same player. And this is 4 months after being drafted. This is 4 months of being around Mike McCarthy, really 3.5 months of being around Mike McCarthy. Mechanics are different. It's like, oh, then you combine that with the great arm strength. Then you combine that with the poise of the pocket. Like, ooh, okay, maybe there is something here. Here's what I'll say. And I've said this from the jump when the Steelers hired McCarthy. I'm like, not who I would have hired. I would have, and I think I'm going to stay on this as long as I live, or as long as, until this is proven right or wrong. Nate Scheelhaase is going to be a star head coach in the NFL. Nate Scheelhaase was the passing game coordinator for the LA Rams. Now I believe he's the offensive coordinator. I wanted the Steelers to hire this guy so bad. Young offensive coach from the McVay tree, has a head coach-like presence, like it's kind of Ben Johnson adjacent. We see how Ben Johnson's doing with the Bears. I really wanted the Steelers to hire Nate Scheelhaase. Mike McCarthy this season, and however long he's the Steelers head coach, is going to drive me up a freaking wall with play calling, clock management, all of it. Penalties. But Mike McCarthy is not the long-term solution in Pittsburgh at coach. His job is with the young guys that are there at quarterback and at offensive line. Took an offensive lineman in Baxi and Acho out of Arizona State, who's kind of a project. Unbelievable upside, but needs to development. Mike McCarthy's always developed offensive lines well, going back to Green Bay and to Dallas. Pittsburgh's needed that for years. Steelers have drafted offensive linemen. Tomlin just couldn't develop them to save his life. You will know. With Drew Aller, with Will Howard, I think Aller's the much better prospect if they're going to be the guy in Pittsburgh or not. Probably not this season because, again, Aaron Rodgers is the starter, which is one of the reasons I didn't want Aaron Rodgers to come back because we don't really learn anything about the young guys. But you will know. Do we have a quarterback? Do we not? Do we need to sign Baker Mayfield? Do we need to draft somebody? Arch Manning, Dante Moore, whoever. You will know. If Aller's the guy, if Will Howard's the guy, with McCarthy as the coach. And you wouldn't have learned that with Tomlin. Or a lot of defensive coaches for that matter. So, watching Drew Aller the other night, if you just look at the stats, you're like, oh, it's pretty good. But it's like, he played in the second half against like the third stringers. But if you actually watch the kid play, it's like, wow, he looked really, really poised, really comfortable, didn't have happy feet in the pocket. That wasn't something you could say about him in college. It's not nothing. I'm just saying, it's not nothing. Got some comments by my man, Alfred Parso Jr. Subscribe to the Metropolitan Report, by the way. He's doing a great job covering the Mets. It's been another brutal season in Queens, but he is Alfred's a trooper. He's showing up City Field every night, covering the Mets, doing a great job. Please subscribe to his show. He does a fantastic job. Even if you're not a Mets fan, if you just love baseball, subscribe to Alfred. Does a fantastic job. He says, or asks, which is more likely to happen? Rodgers making the playoffs this year or Rodgers being called to testify against Dr. Fauci? Wow. That's actually a great question because I'm sure everyone saw the McAfee appearance. I guess this was now 2 weeks ago. He's ripping Fauci shreds. I plead the fifth. Probably people are going to be surprised by this. In terms of winning the division, not making my official picks for another couple of weeks. I think there's a shot the Steelers go back-to-back in the AFC North, and I don't think that's a crazy take. Baltimore's, to me, is a hair overrated. Cincinnati, it's really just a question of Burrow's healthy or not. And the Browns are awful. I would say it's close. I think there's a chance he may testify against Fauci. Knowing Aaron, anything's possible. I will say by a slight margin, making the playoffs. He says, Carve Master for President 2028. Well, first of all, Alfred, I won't be eligible. I'll be 25 in 2028. I've still got a decade to go. Secondly, for the time being, I don't have any interest in the highest offensive land. We need something better than what we got. But that's the decision for like my 40s and 50s at least. And by the way, could we get someone with their 40s and 50s in the White House? I'm begging. That's all we're asking. Maybe even low early 60s. Can we do that? And can we please elect somebody? We're getting political at this point. Who cares? Can we please elect somebody who's not a boomer? I don't want to sound mean to boomers. I'm not. Since Bill Clinton took office in 1993, it's been all boomers. And before you say, well, Kamala is also a boomer. Like, barely, she is. Can we please move off of this? I'm not asking much. Got a comment here. He says, Alfred says, Steelers should have been Hard Knocks this year, not the Seahawks. Hey, listen, I had to watch, no question. I guess the Rams on Hard Knocks would have been interesting because of Myles Garrett and Trey McDuffie and that whole story, and this kind of being like, this is the year. Like, we don't know if Stafford's going to retire. I'd have put the Rams on Hard Knocks, but Seahawks fans are like, hey, guys, we won the Super Bowl. My response would be, yeah, but who's the most interesting team? Seattle, and I think it's a credit to Seattle. It's a football-first operation. Not saying the Rams aren't, but it is Darnold shows up for work, does a job. Mike McDonald, the defense. What's the big Seahawks story? Losing Kenneth Walker, I guess, losing a couple of defensive pieces. I know DeMarcus Lawrence the other day said he's going to retire after this year. Shout out to him, but not a lot of headliners in that squad, which I think by and large is a good thing if you're a fan. And see, now Alfred's just trying to instigate stuff. Bryson Carver, greater than Barry Grant Jr. He's trying to turn me against my friend, our mutual friend, Barry Grant Jr. And I'm not going to let you do that, Alfred. I'm not going to let you do that. I refuse. Steelers coming off division title last year, shocked Lamar and all of Baltimore. Boy, did they. Yeah, and again, you could say, well, Bryson, why are you low on the Ravens again? Harbaugh's gone. Obviously no one's pulling for injuries. Lamar hopefully healthy this year. And my response is, A, we got to see the coach. Jesse Minter was a great defensive coordinator. Doesn't necessarily mean he'll be a great coach, A. B, another year, the Ravens' weapons are bad. And by the way, now Isaiah Likely's gone. He followed John Harbaugh to the Giants. And so, I'm not crazy high. And the Max Crosby deal falling through, I think, killed a lot of morale in that franchise. I'm not crazy. I think it's on the board. Cincinnati just beats both teams for it, but a lot of that's going to be if Burrow's healthy, and a lot of that's going to factor in the offensive line's good. The first preseason game can't make you feel that good as a Bengals fan. We'll see. It's going to be a weird division once again, and the Browns will just be at the bottom. That I can guarantee you. Browns will be the number, in dead last. Alfred, Seahawks is an interesting TV as they focus on the Terrion Arnold signing, which has shocked me. Yeah, that was fascinating. For those who don't know, Terrion Arnold, really talented player. First-round pick out of Bama 2 years ago to the Detroit Lions. That fell through. I believe he's being is currently under not criminal investigation, but is being charged as a felon right now. It's not great. Seahawks signed him. So he's really talented, and he could help that Seattle secondary if he's healthy and available. Patrick, when the Steelers start losing, Aaron throws everyone under the bus except himself. The comedy will write itself. Darkness retreats loading. And not only that will be loading, this will be loading, Patrick.
You done messed up, Aaron!
It's, yeah, I'll have that in the bag ready to go. But it will be a fascinating season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, to say the very least. Let's move to basketball, though, because some news happened. Well, I guess technically today, two big news happened in LA basketball. The first was the Clippers aspiration case, Adam Silver and the NBA. Hey, you know what? Didn't find anything. Steve Ballmer, you're as clean as a choir boy. You are good. Kawhi, no problems here. Head on to Toronto, my man. Brandon Ingram, come take your arse down to LA. No problem. Nothing. We didn't find a thing. Pablo Torre, all that investigative reporting, nothing. Didn't find a thing. I guess Pablo had access to different information than the National Basketball Association had, but whatever. Clippers skate by scot-free. And by the way, Pablo himself suggested that could happen, by the way. He said, I think he was on Dan Patrick's show. He's like, there's a chance Ballmer walks out of the scot-free and like nothing happens. Like no punishment, no stripping of draft picks, like, and the Clippers will be fine. That's exactly what happened. And Draymond Green said it best 2 weeks ago. I think it was last week, said the weeks run together when you take time off from the show. He said that if the Clippers get away with this, what's going to stop other owners from doing this in free agency to sign star players? So yeah, Clippers get off scot-free. That's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to mention it because it's absurd that it happened. I didn't want to dedicate a whole segment to it. I did want to with the Lakers, though, because Lakers, Clippers. I know in 2019, Clippers wanted to be a Clipper town. It's always been a Lakers town. It's always going to be a Lakers town. So for those that didn't see the news today, or really the Lakers ownership news over the last week, so out of, nowhere, Ramona Shelburne comes out and she's like, yeah, Mark Walter's selling the Lakers. Like, what? He just bought them last year. Like, the Dodgers owner, he's selling the Lakers? What? Selling them to Josh Kushner and Bob Iger. Yeah, but Josh Kushner, obviously, Jared Kushner's brother, Bob Iger, former CEO of Disney. And today, the news broke. Jeannie Buss and the Buss family are selling the 17%, because when Mark Walter bought the Lakers, the Buss family still had a minority stake in the franchise. Now they don't. They sold the remaining 17% to Kushner and to Iger. So the Buss family, as we see here today, August 17th, 2025, is now no longer involved in terms of the ownership with the Los Angeles Lakers. Excuse me. And some people over the past few hours since this news broke is like, oh man, this is a sad day for the Lakers and the NBA. And, Dr. Jerry Buss, the late great Dr. Jerry Buss bought the Lakers, and this was the family business and all of that. Once again, I think Lakers fans should be celebrating today. Like, not being, jerks about, adios, Jeannie. Or no, Jeannie Buss, the Buss family's done a lot of great things for the Lakers. But we are, for better or for worse, we are transitioning into an era of sports. I'm not sure it's going anywhere anytime soon, where the family business model, that it's not gonna work. Like it's not a tenable model for ownership groups moving forward. Because the only group, I guess, that's kind of made it work from a financial standpoint is the Cowboys with Jerry Jones. But like the days of, Jerry Jones, oil maverick, taking a big swing, buying the Dallas Cowboys, those are over. These franchises are being valued at $12, $14 billion and just going up. Like I've said, if you're a billionaire, not many of those, but if you are one, buy a professional sports team. Like, you are going to be set for the rest. You are going to be in good financial shape the rest of your life. Buy an NFL team, NBA team. Like, you are going to be in good shape. NFL's revenue skyrockets every year. So is the NBA's. Attendance is up every year with these leagues. TV deals are at the wazoo. The value of these organizations are not coming down anytime soon, especially the Lakers, for crying out loud. It's going to take groups. It's going to take a Kushner and an Iger, like big names that we know that are worth a lot of money, a lot of lettuce, that's going to be buying these organizations. And the reality is, too, listen, we don't know no matter how much money you have, you might still be a crappy owner. I think James Dolan is a crappy owner. The less he became involved with the Knicks, look how much better they got. Once it was Leon Rose, Worldwide West, all of a sudden, different organization. They're champions now. But when Jeannie, and there was why her brother was running the team as well, before she actually fired him, since the Bus kids have run the franchise, not great. I mean, the first year after their father passed, the first full season after their father passed, now you could say Kobe's come out the Achilles, but that season, the Lakers won 27 basketball games. The next year, they won 21 games. Next year, they won 17 games. The Lakers, LA Lakers, it's 17 champions, 17-time champions, won 17 games in 2016, Kobe's final season. Come back, won 26 games, 35 games, 37 games. LeBron's first year there, 37 games. Then they get AD, because they have LeBron, good moves in the margins of the roster, won a title. And the year since, in large part, I think, because of their employment of Rob Pelinka, who's one of the more safe GMs out there, takes one big swing on Westbrook, it blows up in his face, doesn't take a big swing ever again. Well, the Lakers traded for Luka. No, that's not. Yeah, they traded for him, but Nico Harrison calls Rob Pelinka. Hey, Rob, what's up, my man? Hey, you want Luka Doncic? Yeah, I want Luka Doncic. What do we have to give up? Oh, you have to give up Anthony Davis. Okay, AD, that's okay. What else? Like a couple of like role players, like one of the Morris twins and Max Christie. Okay, draft picks? No, we don't need a draft pick. Who needs draft picks for Luka Doncic? Are you kidding me? So I don't give Rob Pelinka for saying, yes, we will trade for Luka Doncic for basically nothing. Is that since the Buss family, since Jerry Buss's kids have ran the show, the Lakers have underachieved. They have. It's why I was flabbergasted when that article came out last season. Jeannie Buss is frustrated that LeBron sees himself as the savior of the Lakers. Because he was. Because before he got there, you were having the worst stretch in the history of your franchise. You won 27 games, 21 games, 17 games, 26 games, 35 games. Before LeBron got there, by year 2, you're the NBA champions. And without LeBron, you don't get AD. And because you had AD, you get traded to Luka. So Luka's not the face of the Lakers today if LeBron doesn't sign there in 2018. So yeah, Bron, for the time being, was the savior of the Lakers. He objectively was. And so, yeah, listen, we don't know how the new ownership group's going to go with the Lakers. Heck, we barely knew what the previous ownership group, the Walters, were going to do. They had to sell the team because they're under investigation. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. I think he sold the soccer team that he owns. They're in rough shape right now. But if you're a Lakers fan, you should be happy about this. Like, this isn't a mom and pop shop. Like, I remember there was that period. It was like the Busses, the Rambuses, and Rob Pelinka were making all the decisions. It's like, guys, it's all former Lakers. No one can be objective about this. It's like what I was talking about earlier with Jayden Daniels and his mom. God bless her. She loves her child unconditionally. I guarantee it. That doesn't mean that she'll be making his business decisions. Because like that, those two things do not need to be intertwined. You need an independent party to come in and be honest with you. You do. And having Mark Walter was, I thought, a really good thing. He owns the Dodgers, done a great job with them. He's having to sell the team. We'll see how Iger and Kushner do now. But the era of mom and pop shops in professional sports, like that's done. That's over. And I think the Lakers, I think the Buss family selling the 17% stake that they had left, it's a good thing. Got a few comments. Actually, got quite a few comments. Talking about the Seattle Seahawks we were talking about a minute ago. Alfred. Jalen Milroe was the deciding factor in that deal, which was weird. They took the rookie's word who wouldn't even play for them. Oh, talking about Taryn Allner. And then he also says Ballmer, talking about basketball. Now, Ballmer had the resources to cover it up, obviously. David Stern is rolling in his grave. What a joke. Adam Silver mitting the knee for the owners. Yeah, no kidding. Alfred, all that just to rebuild. I'll miss the Buss family. Tell Walters to sell the Dodgers while he's at it. They'll help avoid a lockout and salary cap. On that note, not necessarily talking about the Walter family per se. It feels inevitable at this point. I I really hope that baseball doesn't go into like a lockout that if we miss the first month of the season, okay. Man, baseball's in as good of a spot as it's ever been. Genuinely. Attendance skyrocketing, ratings up. You've got part of the reason for that is because you have a villain in the Dodgers. You have a team that everyone's like, oh, I don't want to see the Dodgers win another World Series. That's good for sports. It's good for baseball. You've got, the Red Sox are now good again, and the Cubs are excellent, and all the big, really with the exception, sorry, Alfred, of the Mets, basically all the big market franchises are good. Rule changes have made baseball objectively better and a better television product. The pitch clock was a godsend for Major League Baseball. It was. Getting rid of the DH in the national, adding the DH to the National League, making the base bigger, banning the shift. All of these things have made baseball a better television product, and that's what these leagues have got to understand. And Goodell's done this better than anybody. Yes, it's a professional sports league. Yes, it's a business. Above all else, yeah, you got thousands of fans that come to the games. Majority of fans, they watch on screens. They watch on television, on their phones. It's a television product. It's a form of entertainment. How do you make it as entertaining as possible? While still preserving, obviously, the integrity of the game. Manfred's done a pretty good job of that. I really hope the popularity of the sport is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's a more entertaining game. And I really hope we don't go into a lockout that threatens the 2027 season. It feels like at this point we probably are. And it takes two to tango, obviously. It's going to take both sides coming together to forge a new CBA. And a big aspect of that is, man, if the Dodgers end up three-peating, people are going to propose, hey, what about a salary cap for Major League Baseball? NBA's got it. Baseball's got it. NFL's got it. Yes, but then you look at the other side of that coin. It's like, well, wait a second. Toronto Blue Jays came as close to winning a World Series without actually doing it a year ago with what I think it was something like the 16th ranked payroll in baseball. It wasn't big. It was like they paid Vladdy and that was it. Came as close as they could have possibly come to beating the Dodgers. The Mets, sorry again, Alfred. Steve Cohen, man, they are paying the big bucks for these guys. They're like one of the 5 worst teams in baseball. Spending money does not always mean you're going to be an excellent team. The Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Milwaukee Brewers are great. They're not great. Always competitive. Every single year. Rays are leading the AL East, which is a great division this year. The Milwaukee Brewers, every year, it's like, oh, the Cubs are going to do it, and the Brewers won the NL Central again. Oh, okay. Of course they did. They always do. If they had the resources the Dodgers did, holy crap. Maybe that's an argument for the salary cap. I don't know. Bottom line, whether they keep the salary cap or get rid of it, I kind of don't care. I just really hope that that baseball beyond the 2026 World Series is not in jeopardy. I really hope that because, man, the sport's in such a good place. What else we got? Alfred says, I'll miss the Bus family. Jerry was a character. God rest his soul. And Jeannie wasn't low either, dating Phil Jackson and pandering to Magic Johnson. Yeah, that was a big issue. I don't know if Magic was the problem as much as it was the power struggle between Magic and Pelinka. And Pelinka obviously won that battle, and I don't know if it's necessarily been the best thing for the Lakers. Family-run sports ownership has failed in recent decades. Mara and the Giants, the Davis family and the Raiders, the Cohens and the Mets, all dumpster fires. The Khan family, the Jaguars too are, Sean Kahn's one of the worst owners in sports. Only the Steinbrenners and the Yankees are okay. They are, but again, it's the Yankees, and there's also no salary cap, and fans are gonna show up to watch the Yankees. They just are. Yankee Stadium's gonna be packed every night. It's gonna sound like a library when you're there. The energy is gonna be atrocious, but people will show up to watch the Yankees, and so that's where we're at. Okay, gonna take a quick break. When we come back, couple of interesting segments we'll get out of here. Russell Westbrook retired last week. I want to talk about him. I think he represents the best and the worst of what we want our professional athletes to be. And then also talk about Jackson Dart, who just can't get out of his own way. Talk about all of that in just a minute on Carve Up Live. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Carving Up Live. Before I get to our last two topics, Shams just tweeted this. I don't think Shams was the first on this, but just tweeted it. Jeannie Buss was the lone family member not in favor to sell, as the 5 siblings voted 5-0, including 2 of the 3 trustees, to sell the Buss stake, sources said. Jeannie Buss's attorney says tonight she intends to battle the remainder of the family in order to keep their shares. Wow. This has got really interesting. So, okay. So Jeannie Buss like, hell, you are saying the Lakers. No. This is family business for decades. Listen, Jeannie Buss has kind of been among the siblings, kind of the, I guess, correct word to say is maverick of the group. Like a decade ago, when I think was it Jim Buss, is her brother, who did a horrible job running the franchise, fired him, fired her brother. like I love you, but you're doing a horrible job running the team. Get out of here. And now she's, bucking her siblings. Like, I want to keep the team. Like, I still love the Lakers. I want to be part of the ownership group. So, yeah, she's going to take her siblings to court. This should be very, very fascinating. So there you go. That from Shams Charania just now. Okay. So staying in the NBA, let's talk about Russell Westbrook for a second, because Russell Westbrook last week retired from the NBA after 18 seasons. And I'll tell you, as a fan that grew up, my peak basketball viewing experience was 2010s basketball. And obviously Russell Westbrook was a big part of that. And so it's like, God, 18 seasons. Like, you think, oh, man, Russell Westbrook, he's already retiring. It's like, Bryce, he played almost 20 years. Like, that's a long career. Like, LeBron's ruined it for everybody by playing 24, and KD's played 20, and Steph is close to that. So Westbrook's retiring. And you've seen a lot of mixed reactions. Some people have said, is he really a Hall of Famer? It's like, guys, Amari Stoudemire got in the Hall of Fame. I think Russ is going to get in. And by the way, Russ should get in. Basketball Hall of Fame is way too inclusive. Baseball isn't nearly inclusive enough. NFL, I think, kind of gets it just right. Russ is going to get in, and he should get in. And then you've got the other side, people, it's like, man, I loved Westbrook and the effort he gave. He was my favorite player. And I'm not even begrudging those people. If he's your favorite player, he's your favorite player. Can't knock that. And by the way, I understand it. Russell Westbrook, the way I will remember him is he is the best and the worst version of what we want our athletes to be. Let me explain that. He's the best version of what we want our athletes to be in the sense that, man, there was not a possession that kid didn't give 100%. Emptied the tank every single night. It's no wonder Michael Jordan has for years spoken glowingly of Russ. Loves Russ. I think Russ had a shoe deal with Jordan. Like Michael, because that's how Michael played. Like, that's all effort, all the time, relentless. I mean, even the way Russ dunked. Like, we've seen guys his size dunk, but it looked like he was genuinely angry at the rim. Like, pissed off, like, just hard as he can, right? Played his arse off. So as a fan, as especially people in this country, people, Americans pride ourselves, we're the hardworking country and the can-do people, and we work hard and all that. And man, I see this guy for Oklahoma City. He plays his butt off every night. Makes tens of millions of dollars. Doesn't affect his effort one iota. Plays his arse off. Love him. And the other side of that coin is somewhat of a cautionary tale, because Russ played his tail off every night. And he also refused to adjust to where the NBA was going. That the NBA, I'm not so sure it's ever been in favor, the style of play has ever been in favor of athletic guards. I mean, look what happened to Derrick Rose. The youngest MVP ever, blows out his knee. He's not the same guy because he really couldn't shoot. John Wall, a much lesser version of Derrick Rose. John Wall aged pretty quickly. Westbrook didn't age quickly. He was an MVP, his MVP of the league. That was his 9th year in the NBA. So, like, middle of his career, won a league MVP. And again, just showing Russ's resume, I mean, pretty sensational. Like that, again, easy Hall of Famer. Averaged 26 and 8. Shot, again, shooting percentage is not great. 43% for the field, 30% from three is not good. But he won an MVP, 9 All-Star games, 2-time All-Star game MVP, 2-time first-team All-NBA, 9-time All-NBA, won 2 scoring titles. He doesn't get enough credit for that. 2 scoring titles in 3 years, mind you. 3 assist titles, 5th in the history of the NBA in assists, all-time leader in triple-doubles, as we all well know. and on the NBA's anniversary team. So Russ is indisputably Hall of Famer. But you see that shooting 30% from three. And it's like, listen, I'm not saying Russ didn't work on Russ, one of the hardest working guys. Maybe he just did work. He did work on the three, and it just he couldn't knock him down. Like, not everybody's born a Curry, you know. But there's also the element of, yeah. But in playoff series, he was great. He played hard. But in the playoffs, 7-game series, your warts get exposed. And Russell's warts routinely, yearly got exposed. If you give him a driving pack to the basket, he's going to dunk on your head. If he's not a driver, as a shooter, as an individual offensive scorer, he's not that effective. He's a very streaky three-point shooter, and you saw it for KD left. You could say the 2017 Thunder were no business making the playoffs, and that's part of the reason Russ did win that MVP. The triple-double and the fact that OKC roster wasn't that good. It was like Oladipo, God bless him, that was like their second-best player. They weren't that good. But 2018, you have Paul George, an older Carmelo Anthony. Go out in round one. You're inefficient as you could possibly be in the closeout. 2019, you see Russ. 2019 to me was like the game has really passed Russ by. Not that he wasn't still an excellent player, but when you saw, I remember watching that series. Everyone remembers Dame hitting the walk-off shot at the end. But for that 5-game series, watching Russ and Dame, it's like the game is played the way that Dame is playing it right now. Great shooting. Yeah, Dame can drive, but it's not his whole game. And by the way, the more you drive, especially as a small guy Russ's size, higher opportunity to get hurt. We've seen what's happened to John Morant. Again, John Wall, Derrick Rose. Like, it's not great. Allen Iverson's really the only guy, and he wasn't going to dunk on you, that survived as much contact as he did as a small guard without getting hurt a lot. Like, I give AI a lot of credit on that. But because Russ didn't evolve, because Russ didn't grow, it's part of my issue with Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard never developed a jumper. Like, once Dwight was past his prime athletically, he was a good shot blocker. And a good lot. He was basically DeAndre Jordan. That's I spilled my water. That's what he was. And that's fine for a while, but eventually you've got to be able to adjust and to grow and to adapt. So at the end of the day, I'll remember Russ as hold on, spill my water here. I'm making sure none of my equipment gets wet. You okay? Okay. Sorry about that. Listen, here's what I'll remember Russ for. Played his tail off every night. He really wouldn't adjust to the modern NBA. But also, one thing Russ does not get enough credit for, and I know this doesn't come on your Hall of Fame plaque or whatever. Listen, Russ was an intense dude. I mean, I feel like every single season he would get 3 or 4 videos of him just ripping fans to shreds and getting into it with fans. We get that. Russ is a good dude, man. Russ is a really, really good dude. And the work that he did off the court, I've told this story a number of times. Again, this is the kind of stuff that doesn't make headlines, but it matters. Russell Westbrook, during the bubble at Disney, the bubbles at Disney World, the Houston Rockets are staying. It was at the Grand Floridian Hotel. Beautiful hotel. Been there. It's phenomenal. The Rockets get eliminated out of the playoffs. Russ leaves a tip to the person cleaning his room. It was something like, it was crazy, like tens of thousands of dollars. Like, great tipper, treated everybody at the arena well. Like, everyone loved Russ. Good guy, family man, great husband, father. Is that, again, it did feel like, especially during the Laker years, the year and a half he was a Laker, that the attacks went from, okay, he can't shoot, Westbrook, to it got personal. It got mean-spirited. And so in that regard, I really genuinely felt bad for him. Russ, a good dude, great family man, amazing in the community. And that's only going to continue now that he's done playing basketball. So as a player, I'll remember that he played his tail off every night. His shooting woes did hurt him in playoff series. That's why he never won a championship. And as a guy, first class, A+, great dude. So nothing but the best wishes for Russell Westbrook in retirement. Nothing but the best for his family. Really good guy and deserves a lot of credit for that. And the way that, his NBA career, even for his warts, so to speak, pretty good. He won a league MVP and is the all-time leader in triple doubles. Pretty good. Let's talk about somebody else before we get out of here. Because, man. Jackson Dart can't get out of his own way. He just can't. So Jackson Dart gets sacked in a preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, as everybody's pointed out correctly, wasn't his fault he got hit. It wasn't like Jackson Dart stood forever in the pocket, was waiting for somebody to get open like the NFL. You got to get the ball out quick. That wasn't the issue. As soon as he takes a snap, blitz coming right side, knocks him to the ground, sacks him. It's because Tyrone Tracy, the running back, missed a basic assignment. Like that's what happened. But so much of being a successful quarterback, man, it is the intangibles. It sounds corny. It sounds cheesy. You can't measure it. But it's what's made. Dak Prescott is not the most talented quarterback in the league. More talented than he gets credit for, but he's not Mahomes, Josh Allen, Caleb. He's not going to blow you away with that. His intangibles are A+++++. So was it with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. And in today's NFL, Mahomes, Josh. And you watch this kid, and maybe he's young. A lot of these young guys are, again, really mature. You can say it's unfair to ask a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, like, hey, you are the face of a multi-billion-dollar organization. Act like a mature grown adult. To a degree, that's unfair, but it's the reality. Jackson Dart goes to the media and will play his answer about he's taken to the blue tent after the hit and ends up coming back in the game. He's totally fine, comes back in the game and throws a beautiful touchdown on that same drive. But talking about going to the blue tent, Jackson Dart said,
I really respect the rules and the thought behind, the NFL has of keeping players healthy and reviewing things. But at the same time, I'm still puzzled by it just feeling like every time that I get hit, I just find my way in there, which at times I still try to wrap my head around. But that's all that I'm going to say about that situation.
You shouldn't even said that, dude. Like, it's Jackson Dart, like him acting like, how do I keep finding myself in the blue tent? It's like, well, you had concussions that kept you out of 2 games last year, and 5 times a year ago, you were going to the blue tent. And the thing is with Jackson Dart, it's not like it's, okay, he's a 4th-round quarterback. Like, they can move off him. Jackson Dart not only was a 1st-round pick, but Jackson Dart quietly, the Giants were bad. They fired Brian Dable, their coach, and Malik Neighbors was hurt, and Scadaboo. Jackson Dart has had a pretty good rookie season. Jackson Dart played 12 games last year. In 10 of those 12 games, he threw multiple touchdowns, or had multiple touchdowns. In the last 5 years, only Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels have done that. So, like, this is not something quarterbacks just do. Jackson Dart did that in 10 out of 12 games that season. So the kid's really I loved his talent, his upside at Ole Miss. It was the intangibles that I questioned. It was the maturity. It was all of those things, how he carried himself. You saw it last year with the Giants, kind of a frat boy type of vibe. That doesn't work in the NFL, bro. It doesn't. Cam Scadaboo, same thing. It's like, I'm not asking the running back to be 10 out of 10 mature. I am asking the quarterback to be. You could say it's unfair. That's the reality of the NFL. All the best quarterbacks, incredibly mature. Mahomes mature, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott. They are. I mean, people were knocking Caleb. Oh my God, Caleb Williams painted his nails. Personally, not my fashion choice I would choose. But if that's the biggest knock on the kid, like, has a fashion choice that it doesn't conform to, current gender norms. Okay. Is he a good leader? Does he practice hard? Is he coachable? Yes, yes, yes. By the way, is he ridiculously talented? Big yes. Okay, then I'm all in. Jackson Dart's really talented. That's not the question. Durability is a question. Coachability. Listen, he had a quote last year. Remember when he got hit helmet to helmet in a game against the Patriots on Monday Night Football? And he went to the post-game media. It's like, yeah, guys, this isn't soccer. It's a collision sport. Okay, if John Harbaugh can't coach that out of him, that's a problem. It is. It's a problem. And so, end of the day, I hope the kid matures, but thus far, based on what I'm seeing, based on off-field decisions, based on how he's carried himself in the locker room, not great. Not great, but I've seen with Jackson Dart. So that's right. Again, you see that's like, God, like just, and you look around the division, Hurts, the epitome of maturity. Same with Dak. People have knocked Jayden Daniels. Seemed like a good kid. I'm not saying Jackson Dart's a bad kid, but dude, carry yourself like an adult, man. You know why you're on the blue tent? Because he had 2 concussions last year and went to the tent 5 times. And you get hit in the head a lot. And it's because of how you play, too. Like, and some of that's a Jackson Dart maturity thing, too. Like, you watch Tom Brady. Did Tom ever get hit like that? Tom was a pocket guy. Tom ever get hit like that? I mean, Mahomes got hit a lot last year. What happened? Blew his ACL. So, a lot of this is a style play issue, a maturity issue, and Jackson Dart's got to fix it. He just does. A few comments, and we'll get out of here. Patrick, Dart lacks self-awareness. He's a frat boy, doesn't understand how to be an adult. All these hits are warranted and need to be examined. Need to be examined. Teams aren't taking any risk after what happened to Tua. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, again, self-awareness. Like, dude, do you think after what happened with Tua? I think that was 2022. I think that was. He's had concussions since then, but I think it was 2022, where he had like 2 in a span of a few days, and then he had the really scary reaction. Physical reaction when he had the next concussion in the Bengals game. Stuff like that scars the NFL. It's the same reason when a decade ago, remember there was the Will Smith movie, I think Concussion is what it was called, and the CTE stuff was coming out, and they were pulling all these moms saying like, I don't want my kid to play football, I don't want him to have CTE and have all these issues later in his life. Like the NFL watched that like, our business could die in the next 10, 15 years if we don't adopt rule changes and better safety and better helmets. And like people knocking all rough. It's a soft league. And I've heard guys, I turn off the TV when they call a penalty on a soft hit. Listen, we can debate how the NFL should be officiated. What is not debatable is the rule changes have been good for the league because it means more kids are playing football. That's good for the league. And so when the NFL sees a Tua Tagovailoa situation, and when parents see that around the country, God, I don't want my kid to have a physical reaction like that if he suffers a potential serious brain injury. Yeah, the NFL's going to, if you want to say crack down more than they should, okay, that's better than the alternative when we're talking about the health of a guy long term. Jackson Dart obviously doesn't understand that. Again, self-awareness, maturity, he ain't got it. And Patrick is correct on this. And I think Dart's a poster boy for MAGA. Yeah, we talked. Listen, I talked about that whenever that happened 2 months ago when he introduced Trump. Again, the thing is with this, I said it on social media. I'll say it once again today. If Dart wants to support Donald Trump, feel free. The problem is, if you do, as the leader of the team, put yourself in a position. I'd say that if he endorsed, AOC or Zoran Mamdani in New York, like it does create a situation where the locker room could be pitting heads. Whereas the defensive end, he can do that. Running back can do that. Offensive lineman can do that. Corner can do it. Receiver can do it. Tight end can do it. Offensive lineman. Quarterback, it's different. It just is. So, and Patrick, all the drama surrounding other NFC East teams make mine look very professional. Isn't that the irony? Like, Philly's drama is more just A.J. Brown related, but he's gone. But now the question is, okay, what's Jalen Hurts going to be without A.J. Brown? The Commanders, we talked about the Jayden Daniels situation. Now Jackson Dart. It's like, look, the Cowboys, like, quiet organization. It's pretty odd. It's very odd. Patrick, Dart's career won't last long. The Giants will be drafting another QB in a few years. At this rate, the red flags are waving very clear. And again, when you see talented people just not be able to get out of their own way, it's one thing for, like I talked about, this last thing I'll say, and then we'll get out of here. It's like I talked about Diego Pavia, right? Diego Pavia is this immature frat boy. It just doesn't take things seriously at all. And he's not on an NFL team today. In part because he's 5'9". There are size issues. And his maturity, he's a 0.5 out of 10. Like he's somebody like Jackson Dart is ridiculously talented, has an NFL body. It has the measurables to be a very successful NFL quarterback. Again, the hit on that drive that sent him to the blue tent, that's what's getting all the press. Look what happened when he came back in the game to touchdown he threw. It's like, whoa. That's why the Giants took him in the first round. But if he keeps getting hit in the head, he keeps making dumb decisions off the field, keeps making dumb decisions at the podium, yeah, he'll be a backup in a year and a half if this keeps up. So that's where we're at. All right. Great to be back. That's all the time in for today's show. Appreciate everybody stopping by. As always, I think my voice is recovered by the end of today's show. Again, anytime I take a long time off from carving it up, my voice is always just like hoarse, and I'm not used to belling this out. I don't usually talk like this in my day-to-day life, except for the podcast. So, very excited to be back. We'll be back once again Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. But again, starting next Monday, big announcement we talked about in the middle of the show, and I'll put this on socials. Starting next Monday, Carving Up will be live in the mornings for the first time ever. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. You can watch the show everywhere you watch it. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, anywhere that you consume Carving It Up, you can check us out. We'll be live starting next Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time on all of those platforms. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Please stay safe. Catch the show again this Wednesday at 6, starting next Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell everybody you know about Carving Up Live. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them to check out our content. Tell them to check out our list of some of the greatest players in NBA history, the 21 greatest players of the 21st century. The next episode, which I think this will be number 18 of the 21 greatest players, will be coming out on Friday. We already have 21, 20, and 19 on the list on the YouTube channel. Check that out. Follow us on all social media platforms. You see them down below. IG, X, TikTok, YouTube, all social media platforms. Hope everybody has a great next few days. We'll see you on Wednesday. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out. Drew Eller might be the guy. Don't discount him yet. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.